Good evening and welcome to the May 10th regular City Commission meeting. Excuse me. We'll begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silent meditation. During this time, if you could remember the family of Brad Lancaster, the Kansas City, Kansas police officer who was killed in the line of duty yesterday. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You can go ahead and do it.
Okay.
I'll just stand here.
Well, today we just want to recognize the Youth Advisory Commission. This is a board of usually teenagers, so about 13 to 18, who serve to represent the youth of the community on city-related issues. And today we've got a group of people who have been meeting for about the past year. I think Commissioner Weekly talked to them when she was mayor last year. So we've got Tanner Hendricks, and you guys can stand up as I call your name. Megan Unrath, Shaylin Miller, Nike Mellick, Anna Locke, and Elizabeth Theus. I'm sorry, did I say Toyce? I'm sorry, Elizabeth Toyce. So thank you very much for your year of service. We appreciate it.
Thank you also for your service this past year. Leavenworth Historical Preservation. Is there a representative here? Mr. Barr? How you doing, Kim?
Thank you.
Whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth and sustainable development revitalization, neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and ethnic backgrounds. And it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a people. And whereas This Place Matters is the theme of National Preservation Month 2016, co-sponsored by the Leavenworth Preservation Commission, Preservation Alliance of Leavenworth, Leavenworth Main Street, and the National Trust of Historic Preservation. Now therefore I, Larry Dedeke, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, do hereby proclaim Leavenworth Historic Preservation Month. Yeah, and the mic is yours.
Mr. Mayor, you know I'm never at a loss for words when I get an opportunity to speak before the Leavenworth City Commission. I thank you and Madam Mayor Pro Tem and the rest of the commissioners. I'd like to bring up to the podium the rest of the members of the commission that are here. Mr. Hanson and Mr. Otto, Mr. Jackson. We're missing John Carish is not here this evening, so if you gentlemen would come up and join me. It's a great opportunity that I have the privilege to chair the Preservation Commission over the last few years, and these folks and other members of our community that joined together with us in trying to make good decisions to preserve the first city of Kansas. We have a great heritage here, and I just want to recognize these folks and people that have served in the past. I see on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, you've got a whole list of appointments to make tonight to other boards and commissions. It's so important for the people of the city of Leavenworth, when called to serve, answer the call to duty. We have done some great things in preservation in this city. I would just mention a couple of things that have happened recently. Of course, the stove factory loss down here by the river is a project that's taken a long time, but I believe they're almost full, as I understand. So it's been well worth the wait. In my neighborhood, Ben Day School, another great project, a piece of property that was becoming a blighting influence in our neighborhood now, and that's almost full too, as I understand it. In past days, when I served on the commission, we did the VA, another great project, and currently the Carnegie Library, which you all have been an important part of getting that thing put back into private hands and back on the tax rolls, a wonderful historic building that we preserve for the future, and the Ward building downtown, our downtown is looking really great. So I just want to thank you again and the members of the commission for your interest and your actions in supporting preservation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service. Pat? There you go. Whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including 56 sworn members of the Leavenworth PD. Whereas the Congress of the United States of America has designated the calendar week each year during which May 15th occurs as National Police Week, and May 15th of each year to be Peace Officers Memorial Day. And the names of those dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. Currently, there are 20,789 names of fallen heroes engraved on the memorial, of which 124 officers were killed in 2015. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their police department, and the members of our law enforcement agencies recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against aggression. The members of the City of Leavenworth Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedom of the City of Leavenworth. And the citizens of Leavenworth and their leaders pledge to stand with the families of the fallen officers, the officers protecting our community, and the officers throughout the United States, and honor their loss as they protect their communities they were sworn to protect. Whereas all officers of the Leavenworth Police Department are encouraged to turn on their red and blue lights for 1 minute every day at 11 a.m. from May 11th, 2016 through May 18, 2016. Now therefore I, Larry Dedeke, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim May 15th to the 21st, 2016 as National Police Week. Mike, is yours.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, on behalf of the men and women of the Police Department, we sincerely appreciate being allowed to pause and celebrate Police Week. Last 24 hours have been tough for us all. We pray for the family of the fallen officer. Sorry. Yesterday's events, I think, offer a stark reminder of how dangerous the job of police work is. A relatively simple, mundane call of a suspicious subject turned into a 3-hour violent crime wave in which officers from all over the region sought desperately to catch this guy before more mayhem could take place. In spite of those inherent dangers that exist, both the officers of the Leavenworth Police Department and all police officers get up every day and they come to work with the mission of trying to provide public safety. And so I'm proud of their efforts for yesterday. We mourn for the family. I would remind everybody that next Wednesday at 5:30 at the Riverfront Community Center, the Leavenworth Police Department will have our annual Law Enforcement Awards banquet. I would encourage everybody to come out as we'll stop very briefly and honor some of our local heroes that have done some quite incredible work as well. Again, Mr. Mayor and Commission, Mr. Kramer's office, thank you very much for all your support and continued support of our mission. Thank you very much.
Leavenworth Public Works. Sorry, Mike. Excuse me. Whereas public work services provided in the city of Leavenworth are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public work systems and the programs such as wastewater, streets, highways, public buildings, solid waste collection, recycling, and snow removal. And the health and safety and comfort of this community greatly depends on those facilities and services. The quantity and effectiveness of their facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public work officials. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified, dedicated personnel who staff the Leavenworth Public Works Department is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the work they perform. Now therefore I, Larry Dedeke, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 15 through 21, 2016 as Leavenworth Public Works Week. Mike?
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, on behalf of the employees of the Leavenworth Public Works Department, I wish to thank you and the citizens who have continued to vote for a variety of taxing of ourselves to provide for the continued support of our major projects and programs. And these are large and small. And briefly, if it's got to do with wastewater, stormwater, street construction, snow removal, refuse collection, and hundreds of many other related activities, it's done through the Public Works staff of the City of Leavenworth. We thank you for this opportunity for recognition.
Next item on the agenda is the consideration of the previous meeting minutes. Is there any corrections or omissions? If not, I'll take a motion.
I move we approve the April 26, 2016 regular meeting and May 3rd, 2016 special meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. We begin voting. Commissioner Price.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That passes 5-0. Second consideration ordinances. Second consideration ordinance number 7991, North Gateway Second Hotel.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, there hasn't been any changes from the first reading. However, just for the benefit of those in the audience and those listening, I'm going to briefly recap what the North Gateway Redevelopment Second Hotel project entails. This is a hotel at 4th and Metropolitan. It's an 86-room Marriott Town Place Suites. It will be located directly south of the existing hotel on the corner of 4th and Metropolitan and directly north of the elementary school. We do not expect construction on this to start until fall of 2017, and we are continuing to work with the developer on a development agreement and all of the applicable rules and regulations of TIF financing. Other than that, there have been no changes.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Is there any questions about the commission?
No.
Let's roll call vote. Begin with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
It also passes 5-0. Second consideration ordinance 7992 to amend Chapter 2, Article 2, governing body.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Again, nothing has changed from the first reading on this. Again, talk about what's going on here. The state of Kansas has mandated that cities determine whether they would like local elections to be partisan or nonpartisan. So this is simply the legislative body's decision whether the City of Leavenworth City Commission will be a partisan or nonpartisan election.
Okay. Is there any questions by the commission? If not, begin voting. Commissioner Weekly.
For nonpartisan, aye.
For nonpartisan, aye.
Likewise, aye.
Aye. Aye.
That passes 5-0. We'll continue to stay nonpartisan. Item number 6 is consideration ordinance 7993 to amend Appendix F, brush disposal site fees.
Mike McDonald, Public Works Director.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, this is an action that we brought before you a few weeks ago whereby Curtis Marks, the refuse collection foreman, and Ed Davis had suggested that due to some oversized trailers coming into our brush disposal site, that it would be appropriate to consider an additional fee for those that bunk them up higher than you might normally see. At the time, we were discussing a proposed surcharge on the large trailers of $15 per trailer, and the commission did not find that to be an agreeable number and asked us to bring forth a revised proposal. In discussions with staff and with Mr. Marks, who's here this evening, if you have questions of how things actually work in the field, we brought back a recommendation that there simply be a surcharge of $5 per trailer for any trailer that has sideboards in excess of 4 feet. And that would be fairly straightforward to administer in the field, and we don't believe it poses an onerous burden on the residents or the contractors that are using the service.
I agree, that sounds like a reasonable amount to me. Is there any other questions by the commission with reference to fees?
No, I agree. It'll discourage people from abusing the system and then also provide for the additional work that our staff has to do when they come with an extra large trailer.
I think it's a good compromise.
Thank you.
It would be.
This again is a roll call. Begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Under new business is citizen participation. This is where anyone in the audience has a petition or wish to speak to an item that is not on the agenda. Please step forward to the podium. Seeing none, we will move forward. Next is the mayor's appointments. See if I can get to them.
39.
Yeah.
Page 39.
There we go. Okay. I would move that we reappoint Jerry Fletchen and William Kidder for the Airport Advisory Board with terms ending 12/31/2018. The Board of Zoning Appeals reappoint Mike Bogner to a term ending 5/1/2019. Building Code of Appeals reappoint Carol Bohannon to a term ending 5/1/21. To the City Planning, reappoint Frank Wenzel to a term ending 5/1/2019. Conventions and Tourism Committee appoint Shirley Steger to an unexpired term ending 1/31/19. The Electrical Board reappoint Tom Young to a term ending May 1st, 2021. First City Development Corporation reappoint Paul Bax, Sue Peterson, Wendy Scheit, Dave Thompson, terms ending 5/31/2018, and appoint Gene Dedeke to a term ending 5/31/18. Library Board reappoint Pat Bernhardt and David Van Paris to terms ending 4/30/20. Appoint Paul Ingraver to an unexpired term ending 4/30/17. Parks and Community Activities Advisory Board appoint Shelley Cannon to a term ending 1/15/2019. The Plumbing Board reappoint Mick McCann to a term ending May 1st, 2021. Sidewalk Advisory Board reappoint John Carroll, Bill Martin, Dave Stoka, and Stephen Tennant to terms ending 3/15/19.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies. Number 8 is adopt city commission goals.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, on April 22nd, the City Commission met to discuss its fiscal year, should be 2016-2017 goals and priorities. I won't go through them all, but just want to highlight a couple things. The first section for economic development, I believe we sort of targeted jobs and growth through pursuing the development of an industrial park, continuing to lobby for the medium security prison. Those are both regional job centers, not just for the city of Leavenworth. Those are big sources of employment. In community improvement, we focused a lot on some visible improvements to city infrastructure, such as inventorying and redoing some city parking lots that are in desperate need of some new pavement and markings, and exploring some streetscape improvements going forward. public safety, targeting specific areas that we've seen an increase in occurrence in. Financial management, formalizing some documents. A lot of these we have in some form or another. As we're finding, this is just an effort to formalize them and put them all together. Outreach and transparency, providing better meeting and city news coverage to the public by exploring upgrade of the AV system here in the City Commission chambers for those watching online or on Channel 2, and making some more documents open and available online, such as our new development regulations. The City Commission goals will be published this year with the City Commission budget, so they will be available for the public to view. And with that, I would ask for your adoption of the goals as presented.
Okay, is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the City Commission goals for 2016-2017.
Second it.
Have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Number 9 is to consider a request for a waiver of a building permit for USD 453.
Mike McDonald.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, this is a fairly common occurrence where Leavenworth School District has work that they attempt to accomplish in the summer months when school is out. Oftentimes, the work requires a permit fee, and they have taken to asking the City Commission to waive that fee for many years. We bring you a letter from the school district identifying their work, and our staff has calculated the approximate value of the fees that would be involved in that, which is $1,097. The city will incur no direct out-of-pocket expenses associated with inspecting these projects, as they are still required to obtain a building permit. We will just not charge them for it if this is approved by the City Commission.
Thank you, Mike. Is there any questions of Mike?
Is this something we usually do?
Yes. Yeah, otherwise you're using tax money to pay
Using tax.
money.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense.
If
Mr. Mayor, I move that, well, I'm sorry.
you go right ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we waive the building permit fees for USD 453.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Begin voting, Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Number 10 is a request of approval of massage establishment license at 201 South 7th.
City Clerk Carla Williamson.
Yes, this is, we received an application from Catherine Grisham for a massage establishment business license. It will be located at 210 South 7th Street. Ms. Grisham currently holds a license at 700 Cherokee Street for massage, but she plans to move her business upon approval of the license, if you should approve it. The police department and sanitation officers have both approved the issuance of the license, and at this time we would recommend that the governing body authorize issuing the license as well.
Okay. Is that 210 or 201? I have two different addresses.
It's got to be 210.
Yeah, it would be
sure.
210, otherwise it would be
Yeah, it's on the
suitable.
it's across the
Circle.
street in the old title office, isn't it?
Right.
It's on, I'm horrible with directions, but I believe it's on the same side of the street as Leavenworth Floral, maybe in the
Yes,
back part
yes.
of that. Would that be that side? Okay.
If
Okay.
you're on,
Yeah.
if you're on the west side, if you're
Many have
north
tried
of
to explain
Shawnee, the west
directions.
side of the streets are odd numbers. If you're south of
Okay.
Shawnee, they're even numbers.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so it'd be 210.
Okay, is there any questions of the city clerk? If not, is there a motion?
I
Mr.
move,
Go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we, Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the request for the approval of a massage establishment license at 210 South 7th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Under Resolutions B 2136, authorizing the redemption of the city's A 2015 notes.
Carla will handle this one and the next item.
Okay. Resolution B 2136 would authorize the redemption of all of the outstanding Series A 2015 temporary notes that would mature on January 1st, 2017. The aggregate principal amount of those notes is $1,750,000 plus accrued interest to date, and the redemption and payment would take place on July 1st, 2016. If the resolution is approved, I would send a copy of the redemption notice to both the Secretary of Treasurer for the state of Kansas and the holder of the notes, which is UMB Bank in Kansas City, and start the redemption process.
Any questions of City Clerk? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution B 2136, authorizing the redemption of city notes A 2015.
Second.
Motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. Item number 12, Resolution B 2137, authorizing the public sale of A 2016 temporary notes and Series 2016A general obligation bonds.
Okay, and this resolution 2137 would authorize and provide for the public sale of general obligation bonds, which would be Series 2016-A, and temporary notes Series A 2016. The bonds and notes will be sold on Tuesday, June 14th, and the results will be presented to the City Commission that same evening for your approval. The general obligation bonds would be in an estimated amount of $3,065,000 and would be dated June 30th, 2016. Those include the redemption of the A 2015 temporary notes that you just approved in the amount of $1,725,000, and then also the purchase of 3 fire trucks, which the City Commission approved earlier in the year, in the amount of $1,340,000. In addition, then the temporary notes Series A 2016 in the approximate principal amount of $1,625,000. That is to take care of the temporary financing of the 2016 general improvements, which is the 2016 asphalt overlay project. And that is presented for your approval.
Any questions of the City Clerk? Is there a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution B 2137 for the general obligation bond series 2016A and A 2016 temporary notes issuance as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Item number 13 is a contract number 1995-09, amendment number 3, Fort Leavenworth Sewer Agreement.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, as you know, but the public may not know, the City of Leavenworth provides sewer services to Fort Leavenworth. We do this via contract. We've been doing it in a series of 10-year contracts. Our current contract expires June 30th, and this is a renewal for another 10 years to provide sewer services for Fort Leavenworth. It's based on a percentage of flow, so the amount varies, but this will be good for the next 10 years. We've completed this contract in the last month with the help of the City Clerk's Office and the Public Works Department, and the new Fort method of sending all their contracts through Fort Sam Houston, which made the process interesting this time. But the contract is before you tonight to renew for 10 more years.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions?
No.
If not, a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve contract number 1995-09 with amendment number 3 and the Fort Leavenworth Sewer Agreement as presented.
A second.
Motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 That's approved 5-0. Item number 14 is design contract, 2016 sanitary sewer inflow and infiltration.
Mike McDonald?
Yes, sir. Public Works Week. The item before us this evening is to approve the design contract for the 2016 sewer I&I project, and that would be inflow and infiltration. This is a proposal design submitted by George Butler Associates, and the contract is proposed to be $34,200. The term I&I is used to refer to water that enters the sanitary sewer system that ends up at the treatment plant to be treated. as sewer, even though it might have originated as rainfall and comes in through leaks in the sewer pipes or broken manholes or improperly connected roof drains. The city has been concerned about inflow and infiltration in our system for many, many years and has worked to address it in many different ways. The current approach is in 2012, a study was completed where we identified the highest, well actually going back a few years before that with Black and Beach, we identified the possible excess volume in the sewer lines and identified that if you didn't address it, if you have to expand your treatment plant in the future, you end up spending an awful lot of money to treat water that isn't supposed to be there in the first place. So the City Commission has supported a program that we're currently operating under. In 2012, we identified the goal is to remove 30% of the excess water in what we would call 3 Mile Creek Basin. That is, all of the drainage area that flows into the sewer also follows the general topography of 3 Mile Creek, and it's the part of the city that's essentially south of Metropolitan Avenue and north of about Pennsylvania or so. And that's the general area shown on the map. And it was broken into a series of subbasins, and we did all these little flow monitoring things where compared to the amount of rainfall, the amount of sewer pipe, and what looked like the most promising area to invest our resources. This year and the prior 2 years, we have been working in what's identified as Priority Basin 0104. We will have spent about $750,000 fixing things that we've identified as leaks. And it's proposed that we move on to the next priority basin, which is this 0103 area, which is basically essentially Seneca north to Metropolitan from Broadway east to 5th Street. It's a much smaller area, but it has its fair share of spectacular excesses in the flow monitoring that we saw in 2012. We expect to be working in that area with certainly the current contract and possibly one more year. We also expect as a separate proposal to do our follow-up flow monitoring to see how effective our efforts have been, where we will measure the flows and the rain at the same places we did in 2012 and see if we've been effective. If we have been effective, that's great. If we haven't been effective, we'll try to determine why, because there are some things that we don't actually aggressively pursue because we think we can meet our goal without spending money on a lot of smaller things. At any rate, this is George Butler Associates, was a firm we interviewed last year, and we believe they're more than qualified for this. In fact, they did the flow monitoring for us in 2012 and wrote the report that we're operating off of today. And this contract is for design only. If we need their inspection services later in the year, it would be a separate agreement with the City Commission.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Any questions of Mr. McDonald? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the design contract 2016 sanitary sewer inflow and infiltration as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Begin voting, Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Number 15, contract number 2015-74, change order number 1, Ottawa Street Storm Sewer.
Mike?
Yes, sir. This is the project that is currently just finishing construction on Ottawa Street between 12th and 13th, where we replaced a stone arch structure that was busy failing with a larger, more appropriately sized structure. I have some pictures. Unfortunately, they're not in a really good order, but this is the bulk of the change order this evening is related to the additional asphalt repair and replacement, because the roadbed underneath just wouldn't stand up to any sort of action by the equipment. And in fact, in the rain, for whatever reason, it was built with a very erodible soil. So you can see in this picture that not vertical wall, where they've dug the trenches. Even though we've done some mechanical sloping, the pavement just continued to ravel under the bricks. And it was no practical way to stabilize it, so
So is that Ottawa there?
this is Ottawa Street looking east at this point. That is, I think 12th Street, where
Right.
right there where that.
Oh, I see.
pickup
Yeah, I
truck is
recognize
parked.
it now. Okay.
This
But I mean
is-
where that, okay, never mind. Go ahead.
We can certainly go back. This is looking to the west. This is what we started with. So where the
Yeah.
wall had failed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this just getting ready to get started. And this is the box, bottom of the box that we built, that essentially gets filled with riprap, so the water stays in there, and the little critters that live in the creek bottoms have a place to go, the little fishies and things. And then we built
Rats.
no. But it's kind of the eco-friendly way that the state likes to see these types of projects. You can't just pave the ditches anymore. That's not appropriate. So this is the kind of thing that we like to see. But once again, if you look at you're looking south here, look at this bank. It's just not staying up. Over here where there hasn't been any activity at all, it's continuing to fall off.
Wow.
And then this is what we've built underneath there. They're finishing up the project, building the end walls. And that's basically what it looks like before we backfill the street. And that is getting that way, and that is right before pavement. And as of this morning, they had paved the base course, now had not paved the surface course, but we expect it to be open, given any decent weather, the rest of the week, by the end of the week.
Great.
So that's the project. The bulk of this is asphalt pavement, and same thing with the curb. We had to replace a lot more curb than we had originally anticipated for the same reason. And then I showed you the bathtub that we had created there. We actually had designed it to be a little taller than it needed to be, and we had to cut some out so the water would actually run out more efficiently. So based on wanting to get this thing open as quickly as possible, we did tell the contractor to move smartly forward and complete the project. And we bring to you this evening the change order request for $10,207.50, which should finish the project.
Any questions, Mr. McDonald?
So this is just naturally occurring asphalt falling apart there. It's not
It's
due to negligence or anything?
no, it's actually not the asphalt. It's the soil underneath the bricks.
Oh, okay.
It's the gravel underneath the bricks. It wouldn't stand up. It just kind of kept, every time it rained or every time you drive equipment, it would vibrate and more of it fall off and
Okay.
the road bricks fall in.
Okay, got it.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve contract 2015-74, change order number 1 for the Ottawa Street stormwater improvements, not to exceed $10,207.50.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Begin voting with Commissioner Priceinger.
Aye.
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 That passes 5-0. The consent agenda, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I submit the claims for April 23rd, 2016 through May 6, 2016 in the amount of $1,085,930.87. Net amount for payroll number 9 effective April 29, 2016 in the amount of $309,462.88. No fire and police pension on this.
Second.
Second. Begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Paul, number 16.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and Commission, historically the City Commission meets for 2 or 3 afternoons in the middle of July to review the first draft of the City Manager's budget proposal for the following year. It's also the time when the outside agencies request budget allocations from the city. Based on this timing and the requirements of submitting it to the county and the state, I'm asking you to set the City Commission budget meetings. Staff identified July, I think last year we moved to doing Wednesday and Thursday with Friday held in reserve in case we need it. We can certainly do that again. We identified July 13th and 14th. Certainly any time that week would work. should the commission choose to go that way. We could also do it the previous week. However, it's the same week as the July 4th holiday, which is usually not a great time.
Right.
Doing it too much later starts to press us as far as getting all the processes done, but we certainly could maybe do it early the next week should there be a need. So I would ask July 13th and 14th, but certainly open to any two-day combination around there.
13th, 14th with the 15 in reserve?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From 1 to 5 is
Yeah,
what we
is there a consensus on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
There is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there anything that's on the commissioners' mind that they want to talk about? Mark?
Nothing.
Nope.
Lisa?
No, nothing.
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have one thing. I don't know if the rest of you have or not, but I received a letter from the Lansing mayor, signed by the mayor, the council president, and the city manager, asking us to rescind our vote on smoking 21. My question is, before this goes to an agenda, if it goes to an agenda, is the vote still the same now as it was before?
Mr. Mayor,
We didn't.
we never voted on it. We just had a consensus.
That's right, that's right.
So there's
We had
never a vote.
consensus, That's right. That was done.
And I think they asked us to reconsider because they knew that we didn't take it to a vote. And I'm still one that believe that we should stand up and be counted, and that should be taken to a vote. So my position has not changed.
Okay.
My position hasn't changed. I think it should be a dead subject.
Okay. Lisa?
I'm in favor of relooking at it, because one of the arguments was that we would be only community around. There's many more in the metro area, plus Lansing has considered it. I would like to look at it again and bring it to a vote.
Nancy?
I think we should take it to a vote.
Okay. Then we'll take it to a vote if you can put it on the agenda for us. Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Begin voting, Commissioner Lisa.
Aye.
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 We are adjourned.